Yo, what's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be going over the MLB slate on DraftKings for Monday, September the 17th. We have a 12-game MLB slate tonight on Monday. Before we get started, would really appreciate it if you guys would check out my Week 2 lineup review. That video should be out Monday around 10 or 11 Eastern, early in the morning. If you just played NFL DFS over the weekend, you should definitely check that video out. I pretty much just go over the slate, talk about some of the plays that went off, talk about some of the guys that maybe disappointed for me, just go over my lineups and figure out where I was right and where I was wrong, so that way I don't make some of the same mistakes that I made for this week, don't make those same mistakes next week. Make sure you check that video out. Also, we'll be going over the Monday night's game between the Seahawks and the Bears, the showdown slate. I'll be discussing that in that video as well, so if you want to check that out, we'd really appreciate it. But let's go ahead and look at today's 12-game slate. We have 3 pitchers over 10K. We got Corbin, Foltynewicz, and Zack Wheeler on this slate. And I do have interest in one of these guys. Really like Foltynewicz here at home against the Cardinals. Folty should get 6 righties today from this Cardinals lineup. This is a lineup that always just runs out a lot of righties. If we look at their projected lineup, they have the only lefties in this lineup are Carpenter, Adams, and Colton Wong. And really the only guy that scares me is Carpenter. Maybe Adams, not really afraid of Colton Wong. Foltynewicz does struggle a bit with lefties, but he's really good against righties, gets a lot of strikeouts versus righties. Foltynewicz has been pitching really good lately. He's pitched against this Cardinals team once this year and did pretty solid, 5 innings with the win, only allowed 1 hit, 3 walks, 9 strikeouts. I think we can easily get 25 to 30 DraftKings points from Foltynewicz. He could definitely be the highest scoring pitcher on this slate. I like Corbin, but I don't want to pay $11.9 for Corbin today. Zack Wheeler at 10.5, I think is in play as well, but I think if I had to choose between him or Folty, I'd go with Folty at 10.8. So if I'm paying up, Folty is definitely the guy I want the most exposure to. Then in this mid-tier, I think there are a lot of viable options here. I like Ryu at home against the Rockies at 9K. Also really like Joe Musgrove at home against the Royals. I believe that game does have some weather. Looks like it is going to be raining in Pittsburgh, so I don't know if we'll be able to use Musgrove depending on the weather. But if that weather is fine when it gets to game time, Musgrove at home against a bad Royals team, I definitely like at 9,200. But there are also some value plays on this slate. There's actually a lot of value that you could possibly consider. So down here in like the 7K range, you got Jake Arrieta facing a Mets team that just really isn't that good. I don't mind Arrieta. He's not my favorite play. But if he fits in my lineup and I really like my lineup, I don't mind plugging in Arrieta, depending on how my lineup constructs. But like some of the value, you got Andrew Suarez down here at 6,400 against the Padres. Going to be a value play that's definitely going to be on my radar today. You got Brian Mitchell in that same game facing a really bad Giants team, a really bad Giants lineup. Brian Mitchell, dirt cheap at 5,900. We also got Jake Odorizzi, who I'm not sure is going to pitch for the Twins today, but he is listed in the DK player pool, and he is 5,500, insanely cheap. Versus the Tigers, I love Odorizzi today. I'm going to plug him in as my SP2 for now. We don't know who's going to pitch for the Twins. They haven't announced a starter yet. If it is Odorizzi, love him here. If it's not Odorizzi, then you can just take Odorizzi out, go up to either Brian Mitchell or Suarez. I like both of those guys for value plays. But if Odorizzi's pitching today for the Twins, he's my favorite value option at 5,500. He's just too cheap facing a bad Tigers team, a bad Tigers lineup. Odorizzi's too good of a pitcher to be this cheap. He was 5,500 in his last start against the Yankees, and that was a tough matchup. He's the same price tag today, and a really good matchup just against a bad Tigers lineup that has definitely some strikeouts in it versus righties. So I love Odorizzi as a cheap option. You pair him with Folty, you have a ton of salary if you want to pay up for bats, and I definitely think there are some expensive bats you want to get to on the slate. So these are kind of the pitchers I really like, and I kind of already mentioned the pitchers that some of the other pitchers I'm on. So let's go ahead and look at the hitters for today. We will start off at second base. Love an Astros stack here versus Wade LeBlanc. A lot of these Astros bats are relatively cheap. Jose Altuve being one of them, just 4,600, just 4,600 against LeBlanc, who is a pitcher that I definitely want to pick on. He's not that great of a pitcher. He pitches to contact, throws a lot of pitches in the zone. When you're pitching to contact against the Astros, guys like Springer, Altuve, Bregman, Gurriel, Correa, even Marwin, Tyler White, these guys could definitely give you some trouble. So I have a lot of interest in the Astros today. They got a 4.9 implied run total, which surprisingly is one of the highest on the slate. There aren't a ton of high totals today. Right now as I'm recording this video, I think the highest total is the Brewers at 5.2 runs. We might see a high total in this Rangers game, but the game's offline right now. But definitely like the Brewers, obviously like the Astros as well. Definitely like Altuve here, 4,600 versus a lefty that pitches to contact. Love Altuve, love Correa as well. At shortstop, Correa, I know he's been really bad lately, he's just kind of been slumping, but at 4,100 for Carlos Correa versus a lefty, I will definitely play Correa here, especially a lefty like LeBlanc that doesn't really get strikeouts. Like I said, just pitches to contact, throws the ball in the zone. I feel like LeBlanc could have some troubles here. I know he's really struggled when he's faced the Astros this year. So I like Correa, like Altuve. Definitely two guys I'll be loading up on from the Astros, and I will have some Astros stacks on this slate. Then my final play is in the outfield. If I can fit in Christian Yelich in a lot of lineups today, I'm definitely going to be doing it. Christian Yelich, this dude's just a beast. He's a great hitter. He's shown some power this year, which is something we love for DFS. Rostering him in DFS, giving us that power upside. He's also got speed. He's got stolen base upside. If Yelich gets on base, he can steal bases. He can hit homers. Dude's just a great hitter. He's hitting in a good hitter's park today at home in Miller Park. He's facing a pitcher, Anthony DeSclafani, that I definitely don't mind picking on, especially with a good Brewers lineup like this. When you have Kane, Yelich, Aguilar, Shaw, all these power hitters at the top, you've got guys with speed at the top of this lineup. It's just a lineup that you can easily stack because there's so many good hitters. Really the only problem with stacking this lineup is the salaries for these guys. They are very expensive, but there's a lot of value at pitcher today. If you go with Odorizzi, you go with Brian Mitchell, Suarez, you could stack the Brewers. No, I will be on a Brewers stack today. I'll have a lot of exposure to the Brewers and the Astros, two of my favorite stacks on this slate. But yeah, guys, these are my 5 plays for tonight's 12-game slate. Mike Foltynewicz, Jake Odorizzi, Jose Altuve, Carlos Correa, and Christian Yelich. So now we'll quickly talk about some of my favorite stacks. Already mentioned 2 of them, the Brewers and the Astros, but we'll go over some of the other stacks that you could possibly consider on this slate. So we're going to this Texas game. Obviously no run totals here yet, but we do have potentially a high-scoring game here between the Rangers and Rays. It's going to be played in Texas where it's going to be 83 degrees with 63% humidity. You got Glasnow pitching for the Rays, Adrian Sampson pitching for the Rangers. Glasnow is definitely a good pitcher, but we know this guy has trouble with walks when it comes to stolen bases. He will allow a ton of stolen bases. If Odor, if Chu, even like Andrus or Mazar, if these guys get on versus Glasnow, if Profar gets on versus Glasnow, these guys can easily steal on him. So I think the Rangers, as a stack, have some upside today. Obviously love the other side as well. Adrian Sampson, just not a pitcher I believe in. He's pitching in a really good hitter's park. This Rays team's just been hitting the ball really well lately. So Malik Smith, G-Man Choi, Tommy Pham, Wendell, I will for sure be having some exposure to these guys. Even though they are priced up and they seem a little bit overpriced, feels weird paying like $4,600 for G-Man Choi, but the guy's been a really good hitter this year, especially versus righties. So I don't mind a game stack there between the Rays and the Rangers, especially some Rangers guys that have speed like Chu, Odor, Andrus, Mazar, the guys that I mentioned. But yeah, let's go ahead and move on to BVP. Look at some of the top BVP plays on this slate, guys that have done well in the past versus the pitchers they're facing. So we'll start off. Todd Frazier he's gone 6 for 20 with 2 home runs off of Arrieta. Cesar Hernandez 7 for 11 versus Wheeler. Logan Forsythe 5 for 16 versus Jordan Zimmerman. Curtis Granderson 3 for 10 with a home run versus DeSclafani. Javier Baez 4 for 11 with the home run versus Patrick Corbin. Anthony Rizzo 3 for 12 with a home run versus Corbin. Carlos Gonzalez 5 for 13 with a home run versus Hyun-Jin Ryu. Charlie Blackmon 7 for 21 with the home run versus Ryu. And Arenado, definitely like Arenado today as just like a one-off. He's gone 10 for 16 with 3 home runs versus Ryu. We know Arenado, this guy crushes lefties. I like him as a one-off today. And then lastly, Yasiel Puig's gone 5 for 15 with a home run off of John Gray. So that's it for BVP, and I think that's it for this 12-game slate, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and hopefully this video did help you. Like I said at the beginning, if you want to check out my Week 2 lineup review and some of my favorite plays on the showdown slate for Monday night between the Seahawks and the Bears, make sure you check that video out. Should be out about 10 or 11 o'clock Eastern Time Monday morning. Try and get that video out as soon as I can. Would really appreciate it if you would give some feedback on that video. I know my last lineup review video did really well. Really appreciate it, guys. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Really appreciate it. Make sure you like the video, subscribe if you haven't already. If you have any questions, you can always hit me up on Twitter at the DFS_GOAT. or leave any comments down below if you have questions. But yeah, good luck tonight, guys, and we will see you back again on Tuesday. Peace.